All right, so how is it going, you guys? Today we're going to be doing our first fully autonomous flight using the Skydio 2 Plus. You guys have already seen my full review video on this drone, but I figured I would try and capture the very first full autonomous flight that I have here. So I've already flown this drone actually quite a bit manually, but I haven't had the chance to just do a nice, good old tracking flight here. So without further ado, this is the first time we'll be tracking with this drone. Now, I've got to say that the biggest allure with this new drone, the Skydio 2 Plus, is its new its new radio as well as the antenna. So it gives us a better connection. We've actually also got some improved tech inside of the beacon too. So it's going to be able to take advantage of that new radio, which is great. Also, something I'm really excited for is this brand new battery. So what's cool about the battery is you can actually use it with the Skydio 2 or with the Skydio 2 Plus, so it's backwards compatible. So if you already own a Skydio 2, you're able to use these brand new batteries. I can just notice right now that the phone screen is stuttering a little bit. But out of this new battery, I've been getting some insane flight times when flying just manually using the remote controller. So I found that on the old Skydio 2, I was getting about like 16, 17 minutes. But with this new battery, I'm able to get upwards of 24 minutes, which is great. All right, let's put this drone out to our right here. Wrong way, sorry, buddy. It is so awesome having this drone track you. It almost feels like you have, I don't know, superpowers. Like the level of confidence that I've built up with Skydio, I don't want to get dirty here. The level of confidence that I've built up with Skydio, with the Skydio 2 and now the Skydio 2 Plus is pretty crazy. I've also got the height floor disabled, so the drone is going to be flying lower than 8 feet, and that just improves overall tracking in my opinion. It's able to get lower down to the ground. Whereas when you have that height floor turned on, I don't know, it's a little bit limiting. So these antennas give us essentially double the range with this drone. Double the range with this drone. But, you know, when we're tracking, we usually aren't flying all that far away. I mean, I've got the drone, 10, 20 feet away from me, almost at all times when flying. But if you do a droney, I would say that that would actually probably be pretty helpful, that extra range, which let's do one. I actually kind of forget how to do the droney. Oh well. I'm just more interested in the tracking. Now here's the thing, is with the new Skydio 2 Plus, there's really not all that much different. I mean, the battery is great, but that is of course able to be used on the regular Skydio 2. We're getting into a little bit more of a tough terrain here. So yeah, the new battery is great, of course, but in terms of like the actual drone itself, I mean, it's still relatively the same as the regular original Skydio 2. We've got the same camera, we've got the same navigational cameras, right? So it's not like it has any improved obstacle avoidance. I would just say overall though, that having that better transmission system makes me as someone flying, or me as someone who's kind of like trying to fly and be the person on camera, makes me feel better. Let's see, what would be more difficult for it? I think if we go to the right, it'd be a little bit more difficult. Now, all right, Skydio, we've got to talk here. Every time you come out with a brand new drone, it's during the winter. I'm out here freezing in order to make this video work. First of all, that's my first gripe, but second of all, look at the trees. There's no leaves. So it's actually pretty interesting because the drone has a harder time at seeing, you know, small little branches, but so far it's done pretty good, especially in some of the harder terrains. My one wheel is kind of pushing back on me a little bit for some reason. We're gonna keep going. All right, so I'm having some issues with the one wheel. For some reason, it's wanting me to push back, but we're gonna keep on chugging through. So the one thing I'm noticing, and it's kind of interesting, right? Because like, we have this upgraded transmission system. The phone live view is a little bit choppy. choppier than I remember with, let's see, choppier than I remember with just the regular Skydio 2. See, it's not a good video without any sort of drama falling off the board. Going up hills is tough. Alrighty. So let's look at the battery life. We've been flying for what? Shows our distance as 3,200 feet. So we've flown relatively far. We're only down to 81% on the battery. So again, I've already flown this drone manually quite a bit. I think I'm gonna have to adjust my feet, my grip a little bit once I get up here. Nice. So I've flown this drone quite a bit manually, and the flight time is great. I mean, 25 minutes I've been getting out of it. I'm just gonna have to adjust my gripping here on my feet. I also might come to a dead end down here. These golf courses are strange. Alrighty, so yeah, the flight time is huge. Yo, I'm a mess today. And as much as I'd love to just restart this so I can look like I'm a better one-wheel rider, it is too cold. All right, come on. There we are. So, if we hit a dead end down here, we might just turn around, because I'd rather just ride on pavement. Now, whenever I'm flying a Skydio 2 drone, may have already said this, but there's just this certain level of confidence that I have when it's following me. Like, I remember when I first started doing like these tracking videos with the drone following me, I always felt like I was like looking back, like, oh, is it still there? Oh, is it still there? But now I've built this level of trust in the drone that I feel like I don't even have to look back. I'm like, all right, it's there. I know it's there. As long as I can hear it, we're all good. And it's no doubt that the autonomy has definitely just gotten better through updates. Let's try and put it out in front of us. You can't help but smile because it's so much fun. I hope we don't run out of path here. I also thought this way was going to be a little bit more difficult with more trees for the drone to dodge. Now, something that I wanted to do with this drone, and don't worry, we will be doing, is getting a little bit of redemption on the out in the Pine Barrens, where I actually ended up losing my Skydio 2. I don't know if you remember, the Skydio 2 dive bombed down into the water. Rest in peace to that drone, but I want to bring this out back to that same spot and give it a try and see if it can redeem itself. It did so good up until the point where it went into the water, but oh well. Alrighty, so coming up here, we've got a lot of trees up to our left, so I feel like it might be smart to put the drone onto our right side. The beacon is so handy and so clutch for this. Now, you guys might see that I'm holding both my phone and the beacon. The phone is nice to be able to kind of make sure that the drone is seeing you. Of course, for this video's sake, I'm also, you know what, I'm gonna have it follow from behind. For this video's sake, I also want to make sure that I'm doing a screen recording so that you guys can watch. Darn. Down goes Fraser. All right, so I'm not even mad that that happened. I think it was something that had to happen. Nice little crash to start off the tracking video. Like I said, these small little thin branches, it's tough for the Skydio to see. If there were some leaves on these branches, it'd be a totally different story. Like that pine tree back there, really easy for it to see and dodge. And it still even does a good job at dodging those little thin branches, but sometimes it seems to just get a little bit far ahead of itself. It'll trip up on a branch, and next thing you know, it's tumbling down to the ground. But here's a couple of things that I can say now after seeing that happen. You know, it probably took like a 10-foot fall, smack down onto the concrete here, and it's flying. We're totally cool. None of the props even broke, which is great. But the one thing that I was wondering in terms of durability with those antennas sticking up is like, well, hey, if you crash the drone, what's going to happen with those antennas? Will they break off? Are they fragile? I mean, look, it held up during that little crash right there. Alrighty. So I figured, let's see, we've got about 65%, 66% battery left. We've flown quite a good distance here. The battery has 20% more capacity inside of it. Again, it's the same exact shape. It's in the same case. So you can use these with your Skydio 2 Plus, with your Skydio 2. You can even use the older batteries with the newer drone. So like if you wanted to upgrade your drone and you had some extra batteries laying around, you could still use them. You wouldn't get the same flight time, but you know, it's cool to still be able to make those batteries work and use them if you have a extended day worth of flying. So I'm excited to see like the final flight time total when I get home and when I'm editing this video to see how long the drone was in the air for. Because look, if you can give me a drone with better range and better battery life, better flight time, sign me up. That's a drone I want. So they take a drone. I mean, look, the Skydio 2 in terms of like the body and in terms of like the autonomy is already great. So the fact that they're just kind of tweaking the body itself is awesome to see. All right, there's some thin branches here. What you're gonna do? Go under them. There you go. All right, so I fell coming up this hill. Hopefully I don't fall going down the hill. Taking it nice and slow. If you guys remember, I had a Skydio 2 video where I was on my boosted board and I just totally ate it. All right, this dude is right here. Hoping it doesn't decide to go haywire. Hey, how's it going? Good. Alrighty, so let's head on down here. We'll make a right. This is kind of the route that I took, if you guys remember, when I did my Mavic 2 Pro active track test versus Skydio 2 active track test. And I mean, look, quite frankly, is this tracking flight any better in the Skydio 2 Plus than it was in the Skydio 2? I mean, not really. But as I've just been saying, having that extra battery life and having that extra range is great. I also want to make sure I've got enough one-wheel battery to get home because I do not want to be carrying this. So, I guess let me ask you guys, I mean, what are your thoughts on the Skydio 2 from what you've seen so far? Sorry, the Skydio 2 Plus, because of course, this video is coming out after I've already been flying it for a long time. You know, I've posted my full review video, so like, from what you've gathered, if you are a Skydio 2 owner, would you want to upgrade to the Skydio 2 Plus? Is like the extra range, I mean, really, that's the big allure to buying this drone, because if you had the old Skydio 2, you could save some money, just pick up some new batteries and get that extended range, that extended flight time. Or, sorry, not extended range, the extended flight time, more battery life. Also, let me just say, this is like totally unrelated to tracking, but I use the Skydio 2 for drone deploy missions, and I'm really looking forward to being able to use this drone to, or the new batteries, to run some drone deploy mapping missions, because it's just going to be able to let me map for longer, bigger areas. Now, seeing like the little upgrades they introduced here with the Skydio version 2, right? I mean, this is kind of like a mid-cycle refresh. I keep calling it the version 2, Skydio 2 version 2, Skydio 2 Plus. You know, it's kind of like a mid-cycle refresh, giving us these new antennas, things like that. But it just makes me wonder, like, what's in store for Skydio 3? Let's put this in front of us. Get something a little different going on here. It is so awesome how, like, when you tell it where you want it to go, like, hey, I want you to move to the front, it's like, you got it, and it makes its way there as fast as possible. Sometimes I get a little bit confused with the beacon controls, like the arrow keys here. And that's why sometimes I actually like to just use my phone and touch, like, hey, I want it to go straight forward, straight back. Like, I find myself like accidentally hitting the wrong way. All right, so I don't think there's too much more stuff up here. I mean, this is just like a random neighborhood. So we'll do a quick U-turn here and run it back. Flight time check, or battery check, 49%. So we've killed half of this battery, and I feel like I've been flying forever. I mean, you think about extra battery life when it comes to the drone flying itself. It's not like right now on my one wheel, we're going like considerably fast. I mean, what? This thing only goes like 14 miles an hour at its maximum speed, and I keep getting this pushback on it. But you've just got to think that like if you're using this on like a ski slope, if you're using this while you're inside of your truck and it's tracking you, if you're on a jet ski and it's tracking you, I mean, like, it's really annoying to have to get out of your truck, land the drone, and replace the battery. Or if you're on a jet ski, or a snowmobile, it's annoying to have to like totally stop what you're doing, change the battery out. So this is just going to give you less battery swaps. I mean, that's the way that I look at it. I mean, again, look, I'm on my one wheel, so I can just jump off and land it. It's really no biggie. But if you're in that situation where you've got like a long ski run, with the extra battery, you've now got that opportunity to go further, which is nice. All right. So what do you guys think so far of the Skydio 2 Plus? I know I asked you the same thing as I was riding up this hill. Oh, we were talking about like what's in store for Skydio 3, right? I see a car coming up here. If that's the case, we will enable the height floor. Just to give you like a heads up, right? The height floor, yeah, so here comes a car. We'll move over to the side so that it doesn't nail my Skydio 2. So just to give you guys like a heads up for what I'm doing here. Oh boy, hold on. So I'm like enabling the height floor right now so that the drone is able to fly above, what is it, 8 feet, because I just don't want it to hit the cars. So that height floor is pretty much put in place for the safety of others around you. Like if you're say on like a trail with other people, or in my case, if you can't ride a one wheel properly. Alrighty, come on. All right, cool. So now we will turn the height floor off because there's nobody around us. There we are. So yeah, I mean, you know, the Skydio is great at seeing like fixed subjects. So like trees that are stuck in place, signs that are stuck in place, whatever. It's gonna do a good job at avoiding those. But if you've got a car coming straight head on at you, it's kind of difficult. Like you've got a head-on collision almost waiting to happen there if the drone is flying too low. So always good to be able to, you know, trigger that height floor if you need it. That's another reason I enjoy having my phone handy, is because it's super easy to just run in there, disable it, enable it, whatever you need to do. All right, we keep getting sidetracked, but I want to talk Skydio 3. Like what is in store for this next generation drone, which, you know, they do a mid-cycle refresh. You might expect to see like a brand new drone, like maybe what? A year and a half later. I mean, release cycles are always different depending upon what company you're talking about and also what product. You know, things can be delayed, things can be changed, whatever. But you've got to wonder like what to expect from that. Of course, I would say like a better navigation camera system. So we've got 6 cameras on this drone. Could we see more? Could we see higher resolution cameras? Could we see a beefier processor? Could we see, I think we would almost definitely see an upgraded camera. I mean, it seems like this one sec here. Let me move out of the way. She yelled at me. Alrighty. I think we're running a little low on one wheel battery here. What's going on, dude? Alrighty. Nothing like a good old nosedive. Moving on. So like, what are we gonna see in this next Skydio, right? I think that for this particular like sector of drones being like a somewhat intermediate sized drone, it's not like fully professional, but it's also not, you know, a small little mini drone. I think we've got to see an increase in the sensor size, 1-inch sensor potentially. I'd also like to see a higher resolution in terms of the photographs. So we've got a 12 megapixel sensor on this drone. 12 megapixels is great, but I'm always a fan of higher resolution images coming from a drone because you're further away from the subject that you're shooting. So like with an iPhone, it's okay to have a 12 megapixel sensor because you're taking a photo of a person that's directly in front of you, right? But with a drone, you could be 400 feet in the air. So that resolution definitely helps. Now I've got to say, this has been a fairly action-packed video. While I have almost killed myself a couple of times, I haven't. And it seems like the drone battery is going to outlast the one-wheel battery. I kind of took a peek down and it looks like I've only got about maybe like 15% left in the one wheel. This is the Pint, so not the new Pint X. But we've got 26% battery left. By the end of the video, I'll know how long the flight time is. I'll obviously need to like sit down and kind of edit the video and see like when I first took off to when I landed and cut out the crash time. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see what my full flight time was from this battery. And as I've said, if you're a Skydio 2 owner looking to get extra flight time, you're able to do so by just purchasing the new batteries and using them. So what's great is now with this drone, I'm able to make use of the old Skydio batteries that I have, which is nice. I won't get the same flight time, but it's good to at least be able to use them. And that's what's great about Skydio. I think I started saying this in the beginning, but even some of their software features, right? Like we've got this new keyframe feature, which I didn't even talk about in this video because we're just kind of doing tracking. That new keyframe feature is coming to Skydio 2, which is really cool to see. I probably shouldn't be wearing white shoes when I'm doing this. So yeah, like all these like features and upgrades are coming to people that already own the drone, which is really awesome to see. And hey, look, I'll give it to the drone. I had, 3 crashes on the one wheel, and the drone only 4 crashes. All right, look, I'm ending the video there. I'm paying too much attention talking, and I'm almost going to kill myself on this one wheel. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Skydio 2 Plus in terms of its autonomous tracking here. Next is going to be tracking my car at the Pine Barrens. We're definitely going to get some redemption there. And also I've got some other Skydio 2 videos coming out, Skydio 2 Plus. So let me know your thoughts. And as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.